All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the lightweight division talking about Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and Devin Haney. Gervonta Davis recently gave an interview, a long interview on the Rise podcast, and had some interesting things to say. And Shakur Stevenson had something interesting to say back to him. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135-pound division, talking about some of the best fighters in the sport of boxing, all of which are in the lightweight division, none of which have really fought anybody that is the top guy in the division, but very entertaining conversation going on between Gervonta Davis, specifically Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney. Before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, like the Rise podcast, shout out to my guys on the Rise podcast, Senior, Squeeze, Coach Calvin, the entire crew over there. Definitely love your show, and thank you guys for the support when you guys come by, and everybody else who supports in the super chats, the cash apps, and in the super thanks that where you can thank and support the channel in videos like this with a little heart and a dollar sign. Any support is appreciated. Thank you. And also, if you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button and join in on the conversations we have going on a daily basis. Man, this is a refreshing conversation, even though we've talked about some of this before, but it's off of the subject that really was like a weight around the neck of boxing for the last 6 months, which is the Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford fight, in which included two of the best fighters in boxing. This one is kind of fun because I think this is leading to something, hopefully, where a fight can be made between any pair of three of the best fighters in the world. In my opinion, all three of these guys should be in the top 10 pound for pound. However, you have, and these are the guys that I'm talking about, are Gervonta Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and Devin Haney. Devin Haney is the undisputed lightweight champion. Shakur Stevenson is a former unified 130-pound champion. And Gervonta Davis is a 3-division title holder, a two-time two-time, or is he three-time, actually? Three-time champion at 130 pounds, the WBA regular champion at 135 pounds, and the former 140-pound WBA regular champion, an undefeated fighter, to knockout artist, just terrific fighter. He was on the Rise podcast, and he was asked about Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, right? Now, I'm going to leave alone the subject matter that brought it up and just talk about what Gervonta Davis said. He said first, he's like, look, man, I cracked both of those dudes in sparring. He's like, they're the only person that you can, this basically the statement was that, only people that can beat Gervonta Davis are Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and himself, right? And so Gervonta Davis said, you're right about that last one. I can beat myself, but those other two dudes, they cannot touch me. And he said, look, man, I've already sparred both of those dudes. I cracked both of those dudes, right? Talking about Shakur Stevenson and talking about Devin Haney, right? Now, Shakur Stevenson responded to that, and he was like, yeah, man, okay. Something about, look, I will never lose to a midget, right? And I'm like, man, first of all, Shakur, bro, you're not that big. But like all y'all some midgets, except for Devin, who's probably 147 pounds. Both those dudes look like some little itty bitty dudes. However, Shakur Stevenson responded to that and, said, hey, man, if you're going to tell everything about how you learned from me in sparring and all of that type of stuff. Now, I have definitely heard Gervonta Davis say that, look, man, he knows that Shakur Stevenson's like that, because he's like, he sparred him one time. He didn't say it was easy work, but he's like, got his way. Then he saw him again, and he was like, man, this dude got a lot better. I got to stay on top of really got to stay on top of my game for Shakur Stevenson, right? But when it's put in his face that these two dudes are going to beat him. Now, and the funny thing is when you say the only people that can beat you, but you list two people in your own weight class, that's telling you that it's like, oh, man, you're saying I'm the third best person in my weight class. What is Gervonta Davis going to say other than I'm the best dude in my weight class and I will beat Devin Haney and I will beat Shakur Stevenson, right? And this is my take on it. As far as Shakur Stevenson goes, dude, Shakur Stevenson is an excellent fighter, man. Without a doubt, he's an excellent fighter. And he would be a very, very difficult guy for anybody to beat, without a doubt, right? And in the matchup with Gervonta and Shakur, it's a southpaw and southpaw matchup, right? So where Shakur had previously said, look, man, if their only chance to beat me is that they knock me out, they ain't got no chance at all. Gervonta Davis got more than a little bit of chance of knocking Shakur Stevenson out, because Shakur Stevenson is not somebody that will not get hit at all. And Shakur Stevenson really does rely upon slipping punches by like very, very small amounts. And he's not fighting the type of guy that with the hand speed or the skills that Gervonta Davis has. And if Gervonta Davis is able to knock down your jab and make you fight at any point in time on the inside, man, when guys have big old bombs in their hands, you definitely have the ability to get somebody out of there, right? I think that is an evenly matched fight. As far as the fight with Devin Haney, I think that's the same thing between Gervonta and Devin Haney. You know, Devin Haney's going to be trying to fight on the outside and all of that good stuff. And when you spar, you have bigger gloves on than you do in headgear, right? So when you're fighting in headgear and you're fighting in small gloves or you're in big gloves against a big puncher, that neutralizes what that big puncher can do to you, right? And you may think that you can really withstand those shots. But if Gervonta Davis is saying, look, man, did they tell you that in the first time I sparred Devin, they pulled him out the ring. And then the second time I sparred him, I was just getting off a plane, came in there and I still almost knocked him out. What do you think Gervonta Davis is going to think if he actually has, 8-ounce gloves on, or what is it? I believe that I think it's 8-ounce gloves for 135 pounds. But if you have significantly smaller gloves and the guy doesn't have any headgear, and you can actually hit him full speed with that stuff. Though you can't, now I'm not saying that I'm going to pick any particular guy to win these fights. As I tell you, I really think that if these guys fought multiple times, it could maybe be able to come out in multiple different ways. But when you have a guy there that really does have the ability to knock you out cold with a single shot, man, you just absolutely positively cannot count them out. Now, I've got to say this, though. The most realistic bout to take place does not include Gervonta Davis with either one of those guys. It's the two of them. It's Gervonta, it's Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson fighting each other, which is the thing that will most likely happen. And in order for either one of those guys, and this is just how I see the politics of boxing playing out, either way, if you see these two guys are going to fight Gervonta, it's going to be after those guys fight. And probably not before. And Gervonta Davis is going to be at that weight class for a long time because this is his third, just like Shakur Stevenson, this is his third weight class. And so the time frame in him, there's no point in time where he's going to be up at 147, right? He may dip up to 140 briefly, but very, very little chance that he's going to go up to 147 pounds. But anyway, whole thing was a really, really interesting conversation. Definitely hope these fights get made. Do not know who's going to win, but I will tell you, man, for sure, to count out Shakur beating Devin is silly. To count out Gervonta beating Shakur is silly. To totally count out Devin beating Gervonta, I think that's silly. All of these dudes are equal, are up there at the top, and they all bring very, very different things, to the table. However, the one thing that Gervonta brings that the other two do not is a lot of money. Right. So the fact that Gervonta brings a lot of money to the table, those guys are going to have to fight each other, are going to run into each other. And because they're both over there top rank, are going to run into each other before they actually get to Gervonta. And then from there, hopefully they can pop out the top and we can get a fight with Gervonta if Gervonta gets past these two fights that he has coming up. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.